Hello my loves, welcome back. Today we're going to discuss how to do hero's pose, Virasana. We'll be discussing how to do the pose and how to make it a little bit more comfortable with some tips and tricks. So come over onto your hands and knees, spread the fingers wide and come onto all fours. Now as you take all fours, if you look back towards your knees, you'll notice that they're around hip distance apart. So draw the knees in towards each other so that the inner thighs and the inside edge of the knees are touching, but take the feet out a little bit wider than the hips here. Now if you're already feeling some discomfort here, then perhaps hero's pose isn't for you, or you can use some of the variations that we'll go through later. If you're already fine here, then just sit the hips back and you want to sit the pelvis down into the space between your feet. So you want to feel like the feet are on the outside edge of your hips here. So in Virasana, our thunderbolt pose, the feet are underneath the pelvis. In hero's pose, the feet are on the outside edges of your pelvis and your butt is sinking down into the space between the feet here. Inner thighs are rolling inwards towards the middle of your mat and the tops of the feet are on the floor. Traditionally, the hands will then come to cup the knees, crown of the head will lengthen and you will rise up strong and tall like a hero here. If it's a comfortable position for you, it's also a great position to come in for meditation. So let's look at a few things that can go a little bit wonky in this pose. And the first one is quite a lot of people find that it aggravates their knees. They end up with a lot of knee pain or knee soreness or just knee issues in general in this pose. The first thing that I want to mention is that the knees don't have to touch. You don't have to have the inner thighs connected. So when you come up and perhaps a teacher will say draw the knees together, maybe your hero's pose is the knees don't touch. There's a little bit of space here in between the inner thighs. That's perfectly fine. Now the other thing that you can do to relieve some of the tension on the knees is, what I like to do is to teach this with a block. You'll bring a block between the feet here. You can also use a bolster. You can have the block on any height. You'll draw the knees towards each other and then sit your hips down onto a block. Now again, your block can be different heights. Maybe you have it flat, maybe you have it higher, maybe you have a couple of blocks. Again, you can pair this with having the knees a little bit wider, as long as the feet stay pointing backwards towards the short edge at the back of your mat. This is also Virasana. If neither of those feel comfortable, you can also try sitting in Virasana, which I address in this video here. So you've tried lifting your pelvis, you've tried moving your knees, but you're still not comfortable. Your knees are okay, but now maybe you've got an issue with your ankles. For quite a lot of people, what will happen is they'll come into hero's pose and there'll be a space here because they don't have the ankle mobility to point their toes straight back and rest the tops of the ankle on the floor and the tops of the feet on the floor. If that's you, lift the pelvis and fill the gap underneath your ankle, just like this. So if that's you, you're going to create a little sausage for your ankles, come onto all fours, rest the tops of your ankle on your sausage, and then draw everything back in just as you did before. Now you have a little support for the hips, you've got some support for the ankles. Again, you can still take your block and have your block underneath your hips, and this might be your hero's pose. And at the end of the day, if it still feels uncomfortable, then just don't do it. Choose a different pose. All right, my loves, I hope that helped give you a little bit of insight into hero's pose, how to do the pose and how to modify it so it works for your body. If you enjoyed this video, then give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And remember, my loves, that karma is only a bitch if you are. So be nice, be kind, and be the change that you want to see in the world.